Hey guys, welcome to the very first episode of Out of the Vault, where I am going to show you my entire physical media collection. Now, in some previous videos, I have shown you guys some titles, whether I'm doing a movie review or doing a shopping video, but this time I decided to show you guys my entire physical media collection. And I'm going to start with the VHSs because I think that's the least amount of physical media. I think I have more DVDs and Blu-rays. So I figured let's start with the horror VHSs. I have two videos where I show you the complete collection of all the Friday the 13th films and Halloween films. So I'm going to be sure to link those in the description. But just to show you guys again real quickly. So these are Halloween 1 through 6. I have two copies of the original here, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And here is my complete Friday the 13th VHS collection, 1 through 8, and Jason Goes to Hell. So guys, I'll be sure to link both Halloween and Friday the 13th complete collection videos so you could see a little more in-depth look on the physical media of those films. Alright guys, so let's really start to get into it now. Since we already started talking about horror VHSs, Halloween, and Friday the 13th, I gotta show you one of my very favorites here, which is Last House on the Left. I bought this much later on because this was so hard to find. Now it's easy to find and they play it on TV. It's been remade, but a long time ago when I was a kid in the 90s, this used to be kind of really hard to find. Before the MGM DVD came out, I actually had a bootleg that I would buy off of eBay, and I remember it had Japanese subtitles because this was the R-rated cut, which removed the carving and the intestines, things like that. So you had to get the bootleg before they released that MGM DVD. I bought this because this is a very good cover. They actually have a steel book of this, and I never bought it because I got the VHS, so I have to take good care of this. And it says Wes Craven and Sean Cunningham's Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street horror classic, the one that set the standard for terror. Last House on the Left. One of my very favorite movies. Okay, next, another classic here, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There was a few of these. I have a few of these actually, but this is the one that I would rent. So I love this cover, and that's why I had to go out and get this cover, because I like this one better than the original poster with Pam on the meat hook. I really like this one. Like, he looks so scary there. Alright, so let's move on. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now, before Sarah Michelle Gellar was Buffy, you had Christy Swanson as Buffy with Luke Perry. And you have Hilary Swank in here too, and Donald Sutherland. Rutger Hauer, and then Paul Reubens is in here too. I've always liked this movie. It's very different from what you know as Buffy, Sarah Michelle Gellar. Chrissy Swanson is more of a valley girl. And Sarah Michelle Gellar wasn't like that. She was kind of like the nerd. And Chrissy Swanson was the cheerleader. Alright, I'm going to do some quick ones here that I don't really have much to say. Jagged Edge with Glenn Close. This is a murder trial. I remember my uncle got this for me. Next is To Catch a Thief. I stole this from my friend because I guess I loved Alfred Hitchcock movies, and then I saw that she had this, so I stole this from her. Here is the other Texas Chainsaw Massacre VHS. Now this was the more popular VHS cover. This one I would see out everywhere. And I would see this one at Blockbuster. But I like this one better. This one's way better and scarier. A very underrated movie right here, Needful Things. Now, if you like Google search Needful Things movie poster, it used to have a really cool poster where it was like someone's face imprinted on the shopping bag. That one was a really cool poster, and I really like this movie too. It's pretty underrated. Or it could be because, you know, I was a kid when I saw it, like this one, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I still like this one, you know? And I actually remember I saw this in the movie theater and I didn't really appreciate it. So we were waiting for that scene. We were waiting for this scene. And I went to the bathroom during that scene. So then when I got back to the theater, they were like, Jay, you missed it. You missed it. He ripped out her heart. Bro, can you imagine your parents telling you you missed it, bro? All right, Christine. So I always liked Carrie. And then, you know, once you hear about Carrie, they're always saying, well, do you know about Christine? Do you know about Christine? So here's Christine, the killer car. Not as good as Carrie, but it has its moments and it has good music. But Carrie is way freaking better. But here you go, Christine. The Last Broadcast. Now, I've just recently saw this. I got this at a CD warehouse, and I probably bought it just because of the reputation, because this was kind of like Blair Witch before Blair Witch, and this is about the New Jersey Devil. I think that's all I really know about it. So I was playing it the other day, and it plays like a faux mentary, like it's fake, but then at the end it turns into like a real movie. I was half falling asleep, so I kind of need to do it again. So I've had this forever and never watched it. But I always used to watch this one, Fire in the Sky. Now, not a scary movie. It's scary, but it's not necessarily a horror movie. And this is another one where it all happens at the end, like it says right there. The last 10 minutes are so terrifying. This is a great movie. I used to watch this all the time. Travis Walton, based on a true story, where he gets abducted by aliens while he's out at a construction site. So this was I just loved watching this one, and the really good alien abduction autopsy scene at the end when he's getting out of the cocoon, and really, really cool stuff. So if you've never seen this, Fire in the Sky, you got to see it if you like alien movies. But just remember that none of that stuff happens until the end. So it's like it's a drama, but the sheriff thinks that his co-workers killed Travis. So it's interesting. So I highly recommend this movie. Along with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, there was Interview with the Vampire. So those were the two big, you know, horror movies of 94 and 95. And this one is like more action-packed, more bloody, more nudity. This was kind of the shit back in the day. And still is. You know, this movie still holds up. I used to watch it all the time. I used to fast forward it to the Theater des Vampires, where they get the naked girl, the mortal woman, on stage. So however old I was at the time, 10 years old. Yes, that was the best part of the movie. And the whole movie is great. Like I say, it's really gory. I also used to love watching the end when Brad Pitt kills all the vampires and decapitates them, and does that thing to Stephen Ray too. So yeah, I used to love watching this, and had the soundtrack score, Interview with the Vampire, and Kristen Dunst is in this. I always forget that, because she's not on the they don't list her on the front cover, but because I really like Kristen Dunst, and I'm always like, yeah, Interview with the Vampire was her first movie. So classic. Alright guys, we're going to keep on the theme of horror thriller, and next is Death Becomes Her, more of a horror comedy. This is a great movie, Goldie Hawn, Meryl Streep, and Bruce Willis. Yeah, very funny, dark comedy, very influential with special effects in the early 90s is this movie right here, Death Becomes Her. Okay, now we're going to get into more of action thriller here. So I don't have much to say about this movie, The Devil's Own. This was one of my father's movies. And Yeah, so I've never seen this. This is another one that I stole from the House Collection because, you know, they don't watch movies, especially not on videotape. So yeah, I just kind of added it to my collection here. I know it's like a gangster film about Irish gangsters. It's pretty much all I know about this movie. Okay, next up is Dirty Harry. Another one, that's a nice cover right there. Another one of my dad's movies, or either I bought this later on. I'm not too sure. I definitely didn't watch this movie as a kid. I watched it much later. So yeah, Dirty Harry. I like this scene at the end when the guy takes over the bus and is just like smacking that crying kid around. Kind of a messed up scene. Okay, next up we got The Juror with Demi Moore and Alec Baldwin. Based on the John Grisham novel, and also Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in this as a child actor. So I used to watch this one all the time too. Alright guys, it looks like I'm all out of horror, thriller, action movies. So we're gonna shift to a more maybe comedy or family type movies. Alright, and the first one we got here is Babes in Toyland. I don't really know much about this movie, except it has Keanu Reeves and Drew Barrymore. And yeah, I think that's all I pretty much know about this movie. It's a Christmas movie. And I don't know how I got this or why I got this, but here it is, Babes in Toyland. Alright, but here is one I used to watch all the time. Naked Gun 33 1/3, The Final Insult. This is probably one of the first Naked Gun movies I saw. This has Anna Nicole Smith, and you see Pia Zadora there at the bottom there. That's an excellent scene there, the Academy Award scene with Pia Zadora's dance number. This movie is so funny. I love this one. Naked Gun 33 1/3, The Final Insult, with O.J. Simpson in it as well. Next up is another one I used to watch all the time, Rodney Dangerfield in Ladybugs with Jonathan Brandis. He was also in Sidekicks with Chuck Norris, another fun one to watch all the time on HBO. And yeah, I like this one. It's about Rodney Dangerfield dresses him up as a girl to coach his boss's soccer team, because he needs a winning soccer team. So his stepson, Jonathan Brandis, is a good soccer player, so he dresses him up like a girl. This movie is hilarious, though. And it has Jack Hay. Jack Hay is really funny in this. And Vanessa Shaw from The Hills Have Eyes. Yeah, this is a really good one right here, Ladybugs. Now, I think I showed you this recently in my best picture collection, which maybe I'll try to link up. So here's Apollo 13. What can I say about this movie? Houston, we have a problem. And a great movie. We all saw this movie. All right, here's another comedy classic, National Lampoon's Senior Trip. Probably the last great National Lampoon movie, maybe even the last one to come out in the theater. Well, maybe not. I think Van Wilder was a National Lampoon movie. But yeah, I love this one. And this has Hawkeye. What's his name? Jeremy Renner. And also Tommy Chong is in it. Eric Sparky Edwards. Murph from Problem Child, which is another one of my favorite movies. Yes, I highly recommend this one, National Lampoon Senior Trip. They end up having a party at the principal's house, and then when he finds out, he gives them all detention, and their assignment is to write to Washington about the terrible school system. And then they get invited to Washington. So this is a really funny movie. I have to do a rewatch. I used to watch this all the time. All right, next up is Mrs. Doubtfire. Now, I kind of have an interesting story for this one because when this movie came out on video, they promoted it to sell on Mother's Day and Father's Day. And I thought, this would be the perfect gift for my mother. But she wasn't really too happy. So I guess that's when I found out that, my parents and my family didn't really love movies as much as I did. Mrs. Doubtfire. Okay, next up we got A League of Their Own with Gina Davis, Tom Hanks, Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell, and Marla Hooch. And yeah, I love this one. This is probably One of my favorite baseball movies, even more than The Sandlot. I really like this one. And yeah, I remember seeing this in the theater, and I've seen this many times. I have the Blu-ray as well. This one's really funny with Tom Hanks as the drunk ex-baseball player trying to get his career back on track, so he has to coach a girls' baseball team while all the guys are over at the war. So, yes, this is a really good one. And Lori Petty, Tank Girl, is in this. Can't forget about her. And like I say, Marlo Hooch, so funny, and a lot of good things about this movie. A League of Their Own. All right, here's another favorite of mine, and I'm actually surprised how good this VHS still looks for me. Watching it so many times, Cool World, and now I'm reminded of the Nintendo game. They used to, release video. They still release video games as movies, and there was a Cool World video game for Super Nintendo, and my cousin had it. Now I suddenly got reminded. Yeah, we saw this in the movie theater, and I remember going back home and making our own comic books, and I used to just love this movie because it was so different than Disney movies. It was a cartoon, but it had sex, and it was violent, and I always liked this one, Cool World, and it's still. I don't know if it's a cult classic, but people still talk about this movie, and I'm kind of surprised. And I have the score, the soundtrack is awesome. Lots of good electronic music, and really underrated movie. So bad it's good, but watchable. So if you've never seen this, I highly recommend it, Cool World. And you're going to hear a lot of history about this movie, how it was supposed to be an R-rated movie, and it was supposed to be darker than when it was. But for a PG-13, it's still pretty good. There's still a lot of stuff in here. Look how sexy she's dressed. Hollywood, if she could. Cool World. Now here's a movie that my mom probably did buy, was The Bodyguard. Either, whose mother didn't buy the soundtrack to The Bodyguard. This was a really big movie in 1992, and yeah, we've all seen this movie. It's an okay movie, and a really good soundtrack. So if you've never seen it, Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner. Definitely her quintessential performance, other than Waiting to Exhale. But this is her movie, The Bodyguard. All right, next we're going to come up with another HBO classic, Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael. This is another one that we always it used to come on all the time on HBO, and then we would go back to school and make fun of it, because we all knew Winona Ryder from Beetlejuice and whatever other movies. So Dinky Bassetti, and she kind of plays this just outcast in this small town, and the small town has a myth and urban legend about Roxy Carmichael, and Roxy Carmichael is supposedly coming back to the town, so they're getting ready for the big homecoming. So this is a fun little watch about, a small town and her trials and tribulations in the small town. You see she's very angsty. You see the boots with the pink shoelaces and her hand running through her hair I gotta deal with this again. So Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael. All right, another movie classic here, The Witches. Another one I used to watch all the time as a kid, and they just remade this. Except, of course, I haven't even watched it, but it probably could never compare. People always talk about how dark and twisted and scary, and how it gave them nightmares. It's really just a great movie and a fantasy. It's a little dark in the beginning when they talk about the missing children and the witches' plans to kill the children, but it's really to turn them into mice. So, it's not as dark as people really make it out to be. But it's still a very fun watch, and you have Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson in this as well. And it's a very British movie, a lot of British humor, dry, and you get Angelica Houston in this as well, The Witches. So on the topic of Winona Ryder, one of my favorites was Mermaids. Now, I don't know how I got into this movie. Maybe because I remember that's a cool little tape here, how it's kind of red. You know, I remember the Shoop Shoop video, and Christina Ricci is in this. So I've just always loved this movie. It's a chick flick, but it's just very good. And Cher, is this just strong, sexy, independent woman, and in the 60s, and picks up and moves, and doesn't need a man. And Winona Ryder is wants to be a nun, but she also wants to lose her virginity. So this movie is a really good coming of age movie, Mermaids. All right, now I showed you guys this in my Disney video, Hocus Pocus. So I'll be sure to link my Best of Mickey Blu-ray video, and I talk about some of my Disney VHSs, and here's one of them, Hocus Pocus. All right, now I got some videos here. I'll probably get through them kind of quick. I see the next two here are kind of some Western, some of my dad's films. My dad, probably just like your parents, have no problem watching movies on TV, even with the commercials. So, but they used to have videos like Two Mules for Sister Sarah with Clint Eastwood and Shirley MacLaine. And also Hang 'em High. Now this one I remember from, I don't remember watching this, but I always remember having this since I was a kid. And you could tell it's like an old VHS here. Hang 'em High. I showed you the Raiders of the Lost Ark in the Best Picture collection. And then I also have the two sequels, Temple of Doom and The Last Crusade. Now, I could have sworn as a kid these were given away in like a McDonald's Happy Meal promotion, believe it or not, or maybe like a cereal box promotion. Now, either these films or the Star Wars films, or both, I remember getting them that way somehow. Out of these three films, I would have to say the Temple of Doom would be my favorite, and it's just because of how wacky and wild it is. You got the monkey brains, you got the part where he rips out the heart, and that mine roller coaster. So I believe this was one of the movies, along with Poltergeist, that the MPAA brought up the PG-13. That's how they made the PG-13 rating, because it was too violent for a PG, but not enough for an R. So this one was always my favorite one, except this is probably considered the weakest one. Maybe, I don't know, the Crystal Skull might be. So this one was my favorite, Temple of Doom. All right, so the next one, this is interesting. This is probably one of my first blind buys as a child. I remember being so obsessed with this movie when it came out, The Last of the Mohegans. Why, I don't know. And I don't remember seeing it in the theater as a kid, but bought the movie. I've had this forever and really just don't remember it. Maybe seen it once or twice and it just never hit me. So this was probably, my obsession, starting in film as a child. Just I had no business watching these types of movies, but I was just so interested. It looked so cool, So The Last of the Mohegans with Daniel Day-Lewis and Madeline Stowe. Look at this, directed by Michael Mann. So very cool. Had no idea. Okay, another movie that I was probably I was too young to be watching all these movies, but luckily I had pretty good family who let me watch some of this stuff, including Taxi Driver. I remember my uncle bought this for me along with that package with Jagged Edge and some others. So he could see I was becoming very inspired by cinema. So I remember always hearing, "You gotta watch Taxi Driver." So there it is. So here's a favorite, Grease, and this is from way back in the day, and we used to watch this all the time. Have the soundtrack. Definitely one of my favorite musicals, and it's on TV all the time. I have the 4K. So yes, and this, I love this one because you have the original mono audio, much like all these old movies. Sometimes they remix the sound and you lose that original sound it had because they think new sound effects sound better and they don't. So that's why I always held on to this VHS of Grease. With my last Disney video, I showed you my Disney VHS collection, which is here it is: Great Mouse Detective, A Goofy Movie, Bambi, Snow White, Dumbo, and Pinocchio. This is the cool cases, the ones with the cool cases. So I have a few other movies that have those big cool cases, not necessarily Disney films, so I wanted to show you some of those. First up, we have Dunstan Checks In, a cute little orangutan movie, along with Monkey Trouble with Thora Birch. I used to love these monkey movies. And this is a good one. Jason Alexander and Faye Dunaway are in this as well. Jason Alexander runs this 5-star hotel or a 4-star hotel, and they want to get the 5-star hotel. But I don't know how this monkey gets there, and shenanigans ensue. So I always used to love, especially the scene when they're ordering room service and everything has bananas. And then I love the scene at the end with the banquet hall and the cake drops on Faye Dunaway. So I used to love watching this one. Dunstan Checks In. All right, a kid classic, Casper. And this one was just released on Blu-ray, I think. But I didn't I wanted to, but just didn't, This one was a good one. Kathy Moriarty and Christina Ricci and Bill Pullman is in this. So yeah, Casper, classic film, right? Seeing is believing. And Devin Sawa too as Casper. Now, I kind of have an interesting story with Annie, I believe. I don't know why I have. Well, I'm going to tell you, I think I have this movie because when I wanted to be an actor, when I was trying to be an actor, I think I came upon a part for Annie, and then someone got me the video to inspire me, and then that's when I decided not to be an actor. I didn't want to do it as bad as I thought. But I think this is the Annie movie that shows the killing scene in Serial Mom with the leg of lamb. Annie. Alright guys, next up we got, would you look at this? 2 Romeo and Juliets. The Olivia Hussey 1960s version, which was gifted to me, and I brought this out in the Best Picture Collection video. And this is my sister's here from way back in the day. This was a very big movie. And I remember thinking this movie was so weird because of the editing, because this is a Baz Luhrmann film who went on to make Moulin Rouge. And yeah, I just thought it was so funny how some of the film went in like fast motion, and just everything about this movie is so wacky, and how they have how they use guns instead of swords. So yeah, this is a cool one to watch, Romeo and Juliet. Alright guys, so this next deck here, I'm going to try to get through it pretty quick. I don't have much to say about these next few films. First up is Go Tell It on the Mountain. Don't know why I grabbed this. Must have heard it was good. James Baldwin's Go Tell It on the Mountain. Maybe I read it and then I don't know guys, but here it is. Next up is Chocolat with Johnny Depp. Now I might have put this in my best picture video recently, and this is another one where I stole from a friend, and it's not really, I'm saying that I stole, but it's really that I borrowed and forgot to return it. I'm sure that's, you guys done it, I've had it done to me, so this is one of them, Chocolat. Okay, here's one that I bought later, Grease 2, because this has a pretty bad reputation, and it's not that bad. Once you get over the fact that it's not the original, you'll be okay with it. And there's some cool songs on here like Cool Rider, Reproduction. So it's kind of fun to watch. Grease 2, and you have Michelle Pfeiffer. Here's another one that I borrowed and never returned, Selena with Jennifer Lopez. And this was just released on Blu-ray from Warner Archive. So here you go. Bidi Bidi Bam Bam. Selena. Next up is Boomerang. Not one of my favorites as a kid, but this had a pretty good reputation. Especially the scene with Grace Jones. At least that's what I remember. Pussy, pussy. That's all I pretty much remember. So I'll have to look, a player who's about to be played. Boomerang with Eddie Murphy. Here is another one that was just released on 4K recently. Speed with Keanu Reeves. And I was thinking, that doesn't even look like him. It's kind of funny. So here you go. This is a big hit in '95. Speed. Yeah, haven't watched this in forever. Keeping the bus over 50 miles an hour. God, Speed. All right, so here's another one that I showed in my Best Picture collection, a Woody Allen film, Hannah and Her Sisters, with Diane Wiest, Mia Farrow, and Barbara Hershey. A few others, Max von Sydow, Michael Caine, Daniel Stern. So this one is a fun one to watch, especially when Diane Wiest and Woody Allen go out and she's doing cocaine. And yeah, I like watching this one, Hannah and Her Sisters. We're definitely getting to my last two stacks, so this hasn't been too bad, but I've had to take a few breaks here and there. And we're gonna start with All Dogs Go to Heaven. Now this tape is tore up, but I don't remember ever watching, I don't remember this movie at all. I do remember it, but not like that. So this must have been one that maybe my sister watched all the time because she always liked dogs. So yeah, I really don't remember this movie, All Dogs Go to Heaven. But I remember this one, The Addams Family. So this is another one that was kind of destroyed from my pet dog when I used to leave my videotapes going around. One of the rare comedy movies where I think the sequel is better, Addams Family Values with Joan Cusack. But you have, you know, Angelica Houston, Raul Julia, Christina Ricci, you got Carol Kane, Christopher Lloyd. So, you know, some okay scenes in here, especially with that guy, man, what's his name? The gangster guy. And he's Cher's father in Clueless. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's in this too, spits a few good lines. And this has a really cool scene where Pugsley and Wednesday do a sword fight, a pretend sword fight on stage, and then they cut each other and blood spills everywhere. Really cool scene in the Addams Family. Next up is Full Metal Jacket, another tape that I borrowed from a friend and never returned. And I actually haven't picked up the 4K yet, and you could see he bought this at a public supermarket for $14.99. Full Metal Jacket. All I pretty much remember from this movie is R. Lee Ermey and makes the guy eat the donut and then kills himself. You know, I'll have to do a rewatch one of these days. So in my Disney video, I showed you Swiss Family Robinson. Don't have much to say about this movie except they're shipwrecked. And yeah, this is another one that my sister watched back in the day. But for example, this is one of my favorites here. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter is Dead. And this might be a bootleg. I don't know. It might not be. But I always thought it was interesting how in the back of the cover it lists the movie as a PG rating, but it's really, I think, a PG-13 rating. So I always thought that was interesting, and I still watch this movie to this day. And I remember as a kid we used to pretend we were working at General Apparel West, and we used to pretend to order Clown Dog for lunch. We were just... I loved this movie. It was so fun. Even though how they promoted this movie, everything happens in the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. The babysitter dies, and then the point of the movie is that their mom is on vacation, and you know they don't want to tell their mom because then their mom is gonna come home. So they spend the rest of the summer Sue Ellen spends the rest of her summer working, gets a job at this fashion place, General Apparel West, and has to support her family. And yeah, man, I loved watching this movie. Don't tell mom the babysitter is dead. This might be a bootleg too. What's Love Got to Do with It? Recently I did a video on the Tina Turner documentary on HBO. So yeah, a rough movie, but a really good movie here with Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne. Some of this spilled over into the mainstream, the Eat the Cake anime. Nothing to laugh at because it's domestic violence and domestic abuse. But this is still a very good film. What's Love Got to Do with It? Another movie that I showed you in the Best Picture collection was E.T. with this green tape here. So, yeah, what can I say? E.T. Elliot with Drew Barrymore, Henry Thomas, and Dee Wallace. Directed by Steven Spielberg. So here's another weird movie, Josh and Sam, Strategically Altered Mutant. Yeah, this is one of those forgotten movies. The brother thinks he's from outer space or something. This is a weird one. But I kind of remember a few scenes from this movie. And yeah, Josh and Sam. Kind of like Radio Flyer. So I guess that's why I liked it. You know, two brothers, and I guess I always wished I had a brother, so Josh and Sam. Okay, here's another one that was destroyed by the family pet, was Sister Act with Whoopi Goldberg and Kathy Najimy and Maggie Smith. So we used to watch this one all the time, sing all the songs. And Whoopi Goldberg is really funny in this as... the ex-girlfriend of Harvey Keitel is a gangster, and she has to hide out in the convent. So this is a funny one, Sister Act, and they made a sequel, but I don't have the sequel with Lauryn Hill. Here you go, the original Sister Act. And I showed you guys this in my Disney video, Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey, one of my very favorite movies. Can still watch this one today and still get kind of teared up. Homeward Bound. Alright, so the next few films, I think I already showed you in the Best Picture video, but I'll go ahead and show you again. Got Tom Hanks is Forrest Gump. I think this won Best Picture as well. Another Best Picture winner was The Sound of Music. You got 2 tapes in here. And I used to have Titanic, but I don't know, I can't seem to find that movie. That was another 2-tape movie. Roger and Hammerstein's The Sound of Music. Next up is Star Wars. So I'm about to show you the trilogy. This was another one. I think this one came in the box set. And like I say, these are not my favorite movies, so I barely watched them on video. That's why they look pristine. And I've never upgraded to DVD or Blu-ray, so these are probably the original ones without the special editions or, you know, whatever controversies are in the Star Wars films. All right, we got the final 5 here, 5 movies, and I should have something to say about each of them. First up is Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion. Another chick flick, but one of my favorite chick flicks here. You got Mira Sorvino, Lisa Kudrow, and Janine Garofalo here about 2 friends who go to their high school reunion but realize they haven't done shit with their lives. So they lie to everyone and tell them that they invented Post-its. So great soundtrack, great dialogue, businesswoman special. I actually just upgraded this to Blu-ray finally, because I've had this VHS for so long, and it was so funny because there's this scene where you could see a big Kahuna Burger bag in the background. So I guess Mira Sorvino at the time was dating Quentin Tarantino. And you also see Red Apple cigarettes. So there's a strange little Pulp Fiction Quentin Tarantino connection with Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion. Next up is one of my favorite sequels again, Problem Child 2. Now I just brought up that Murph was in this. But anyway, these movies are so funny. This one is hilarious, just like so over the top with the puking scene, the cockroach scene. I mean, this movie is so funny. I love watching this one. Lots of good dialogue, and this one they upped it up. This one got the PG-13 rating where the original got the PG, so I just love this one. One of my favorite sequels, Problem Child 2. Another funny cartoon movie was Bebe's Kids. So along with Cool World, this was one of Paramount's, kind of naughty animated movies. You see, you got the PG-13 rating here. So this one, and it also came with the Itsy Bitsy Spider short film at the beginning of the movie. That one's pretty funny too. So yeah, this is about Bebe's kids. Bebe doesn't even take care of her kids. She leaves them with Jamaica. So Robin wants to take Jamaica out, but she's like, no, I have to take out my friend's kids too. So they all go to Fun World, and shenanigans ensue. So this is a really good one, Bebe's Kids. The final one of I'll borrow this and never return it, Cheech and Chong's next movie. So yeah, not familiar with this one, but I am familiar with the Up in Smoke, and I probably seen this, just can't remember it. Here's another one, Ace Ventura Pet Detective. Now this looks like a new VHS. I don't know if this is the original I've had since a kid. But, there were some funny things about this movie, how it's either uncut, features additional footage not seen theatrically. Like, I think the very funny scene of him going into the water tank with the tutu, I think that's one of the scenes that wasn't in the original. And that's one of the best scenes in the movie, this one. And then you have Lieutenant Einhorn, Sean Young, so kind of transphobic. But here's a very funny movie, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Finally, we're done here. The last movie here, the Brady Bunch movie. And I used to have the CD soundtrack to this as well. I love the Brady Bunch. I have the complete TV series. The sequel is another one where I think it's one of the best comedy sequels. So along with Problem Child 2 and Addams Family Values, A Very Brady sequel has to be one of the best comedy sequels ever. Just so much more over the top, and it doesn't take itself seriously where this one did. And it's kind of just like vignettes of the old classic show, but updated in the 90s. So this is a good one to watch too, with Shelley Long and Gary Cole and Christine Taylor as Marsha Brady. That did it. I went through all of my VHSs. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe, comment, and share, and I'll see you in the next one.